Every successful team does this. So we want to do as little as possible, but the little as possible is not zero. And I think these 5 ideas of these different kinds of rhythms, this is likely the minimum requirement for a team to be on the same page and to make sure that you are progressing together.
Hi, welcome to the Family Teams podcast. Our goal here is to help your family become a multi-generational team on mission by providing you with biblically rooted concepts, tools, and rhythms. Your hosts are Jeremy Pryor and Jefferson Bethke, and we can't wait to chat about all things family.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. All right, guys, I am excited for this. We are about to transition into a whole new theme for the Accelerator. So for those of you guys who are part of that, we are moving from how to train your kids. We had an incredible month with the Steins, our community coaches, who helped walk us through all these systems that they've implemented in their family with young kids, how to really thrive as a family, how to use the tool of training. So we did their podcast. They also helped us write this incredible playbook. They were part of the coaches Zoom call that we did with everybody in the Accelerator, and we are now moving into the month of June soon, and we're going to talk about meetings. And so I'm really excited about this topic. This is probably a topic that most families aren't like, yay, meetings! We can't wait to talk about meetings. Man, this is a game changer for families, and especially if you have a larger family, multiple kids, lots of things happening. Every team I know has to take time to meet. And it is really confusing for families that are transitioning from this sort of Western idea of family where we're all just sort of individuals doing our own thing and occasionally catch up and what are you doing? What are you doing? But what we're doing is not a big of a deal. What we do together is not that important. That's what happens when you don't have meetings. You will basically default to all of the other teams everyone else is a part of. That sports team that your kid is into, they definitely circle up and have meetings. That job that your husband goes to, they definitely get together and have meetings. But we as a family, because we don't do anything important, we don't do anything coordinated, we don't do anything together, we don't need meetings. And that's what we are subtly saying when we choose not to have meetings. So I cannot tell you how important this is. And I've brought into this next month, Jeremy and Kristin Netting are going to be our community coaches. I'm so excited for them to share with you all. There are 5 different kinds of meetings that they lead with their family. They have 6 boys. And so they're running quite an organization. So first of all, Jeremy and Kristin, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Excited to be here.
So excited. So Jeremy and Kristin are good friends of ours, and we are really excited for them to share this with you guys. So they're going to be the community coaches. So you're going to hear everything that we're going to be able to talk about in this podcast about the way that they do meetings as a household. They're also going to be jumping on the Zoom with everyone in the Accelerator and doing a coaching call in around the second week of June. So this is a really, really important conversation. So we're excited for you guys to be here, excited for this conversation. So what I want to do, and by the way, if you guys want a free resource for how to run a family meeting, I'm going to give you a 1-page guide that you can download, and you can just go to familyteams.com/meetings. And if you meetings with an S, if you type that in, you will get this 1-page document. But there's also an entire playbook that I've written for y'all. It really takes you step by step through the way that our family has done our team meetings with all of our kids for many, many years. And Jeremy and Kristin have their own version of a team meeting that's very similar to ours. And so we're going to talk about how to do that. It's going to be a primary conversation around this podcast. But first of all, Jeremy and Kristin, I'd love to talk to you guys about just the transition or why you decided that meetings were important, how this impacted your family. What were you seeing in your family? And definitely take a minute, Kristin, and just kind of introduce your family. Tell us a little bit more about you guys, where you live, and who's on your team and stuff. And then let's start walking through why you guys decided this was important.
Well, we are Team Netting, and we live in the very center of Ohio, in no place real. I mean, it's a very small town, and there's cornfields all around us. And but we're about 45 minutes north of Columbus. We have 6 sons. They range from we're in birthday season, so I have to remember.
Yes.
Um, our youngest just turned 6, and our oldest just turned 19. And he just came back from 9 months at YWAM in Australia last weekend, and we're super excited to have him back home.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could not survive without meetings, actually.
Yes. Well, so I would love, maybe Kristin, you can go a layer deeper on that statement. What was it that you saw in your family? And then I would love, yeah, to get Jeremy your take as well on how this struck you, kind of this rhythm. But yeah, Kristin, take us into what was it that you saw that got you interested in this rhythm?
As the Lord revealed his heart toward the family to us, it was really important for us to grab a hold and see what happened. And we actually took some flack for going really quick. But our oldest son was 14, and we knew that if we didn't move quickly, that he was going to continue to believe what the world had been telling him for 14 years. And that we perpetuated in our home, because that was, quote, normal. And so we jumped really fast. And so we did Shabbat really quick after we found this world. We jumped into rhythms and mission statements, and what else? What are other things that we jumped into?
Family summit.
Yeah, we did a big family summit really quick, and it became really obvious that we needed times to be on the same page as the Lord blessed us and expanded, really broadened Jeremy's shoulders to carry more and more and more intentionally. We had so much to talk about. We needed to touch base on business and on ministry for our home and schedules, and driving teenagers came pretty soon after that. And so, making sure we were on the same page, that our values were being represented in our schedules, in the way that our rhythms were outplaying, the sticking points in our house, because if we didn't hit those, it was going to limit what we could do for the kingdom. And so everybody being on the same page and working on things together, it was so essential to really gather often and talk about those things. So it was a natural transition for sure.
So good. Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? How did this transition feel to you? Were you excited about it? Like, yeah, can you give me a little bit of kind of background both on what you did and how you felt about starting to do this thing?
Yeah, at first I really wasn't excited about it. I had been part of like a lot of meetings at work and other things, and they just seemed very unproductive. Like, you would talk about things, and a month later you'd come back and you'd talk about the same exact things. And so I didn't really have a good experience with meetings. So I was like, but sitting down and really putting a framework to it and like challenging it and letting the kids know direction and everything, after the first couple weeks of doing it, it just became so essential, and everybody knew it was happening and the time it was happening and where and what to expect. And we adjusted over time about who's involved and at what age. But it has become very essential to giving us keeping the direction and the vision of the family.
So good. So we're going to dive deep into the team meeting, but before we do that, I want to describe to you all. So the Nettings, there's 5 different kinds of meetings that they have with their family. So 2 on Sundays that are weekly. Coaches meeting, this is just between Kristin and Jeremy. The team meeting on Sunday morning with their kiddos who are in the house and kind of underneath their household. They have a parent summit every quarter or so where Kristin and Jeremy kind of work out the goals and kind of that next season. They have a stakeholders meeting that's monthly that involves older, kind of more adult kids in the house, in the family, to kind of involve them in things. And then they have a yearly summit, which we're going to do a whole month on in the Accelerator, talk about how to pull off a annual summit. So those are the 5 kinds of meetings that they're doing. we're going to really sort of in this month drill deeply into the team meeting. We talked a lot about the coaches meeting a few months ago when we talked about the romantic partnership that needs to happen between a husband and a wife. So we want to really get good. And most of you guys don't have that stakeholders meeting. This is actually something we're experimenting with a lot as a family as we have adult kids and we're like, how do we do this? And I just, sent an email this morning to a couple of my sons, adults, and just said, hey guys, let's meet up on Sunday. We need to come up with a rhythm for this. We've had a few of these, but we haven't quite settled into exactly how to engage that group properly yet. So that is like top of our agenda right now. But we have been practicing for years and years a team meeting with the kids in the house. And so you guys launched that when your oldest was 14. And so you've been doing this for a long time now. And so this is really important for us to get into. Again, it's like you are leading a household if you're trying to become a family team. And organizations need to meet. We have to get on the same page. We have to talk through challenging issues. We have to demonstrate that what we do together is important and that the vision that we're setting is something that we want buy-in from all of our kids. And so it's really important to have these. So we're going to drill into the team meeting with you guys. Kristin, we'll start with you. Maybe you can just walk me through. So Sunday morning is coming and your boys are gathering up for the team meeting. What time do you guys start? Yeah, kind of give me the details. And I'd love Jeremy to kind of talk through some of the sort of tactics that maybe you have evolved over time. Go maybe a layer deeper into what some of these mean. But yeah, walk me through what it's like to be in your living room on a Sunday morning. Or is it?
Well, our Sunday mornings usually start with the coaches meeting. So Jeremy and I are meeting upstairs and the boys have lists of chores that they're taking care of and getting the morning started. It depends what's happening in the day of what time that happens. And our Saturday night date before we leave, Jeremy sets an expectation for the morning. Everybody needs to be on the couch ready for a meeting at whatever time. Okay. Most often, I think it's probably about 9. Okay. Probably. We like to use our days out here on the farm if it's going to be nice. So, Bud's on the couch at 9 o'clock. And before that time, we have this whole list that they're taking care of, each one of them. And on the list is do not open mom and dad's door because they're having a coaches meeting. So that's a really important goal that we're setting in front of them. And so we come down and get another cup of coffee maybe. And we all sit down and everybody's sitting there with a pile of note cards in the middle of the coffee table and pens. That's an important detail.
Awesome. All right. So that's the launch. Everyone's sitting there. They know what they're doing. The boys grab a note card because they need to be taking notes. Okay, Jeremy, why don't you pick it up from there? First of all, tell me about the note cards. Why did you guys do that? What was the impetus behind having your boys take some notes?
The emphasis behind that was we would have these meetings every Sunday and we would go through the week and we'd talk about stuff and we'd say, this is what's happening Tuesday, or even like Sunday night, like this is what's happening. And then, 7 hours later, the next day, they'd be like, you didn't tell me that. And I'd be like, yeah, we did. We talked about it on Sunday. And so just having them write it down and remember it. And if we are implementing a challenge for them or something that's to write down so they know it and they have to post it somewhere. And it's also like if we're assigning jobs to certain people, they have to write the jobs down. And then we go through that. At the end of the meeting, we go through and everybody has to read what's on their card. And then they bring their card to that old card to the next meeting and make sure everything is checked off that they were supposed to do. And if they didn't do something, they got to explain why.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so good. Okay. So we've never cracked this code. So I love all of the elements that this covers. So it causes them to obviously pay more attention in the meeting. It gives them a reminder and everyone a written record that you heard this and we did talk about this. And then there's accountability. Like it's on the list. It's on your checklist. We delegated this to you. You're bringing it to the next meeting. And so it's very, very clear. So everything is clear. clear enough for a teenage boy or preteen boy to actually know, okay, I did hear this. We are going to do this. So part of the reason why I love the way your family does this is because I think you have, I think, one of the most challenging dynamics in a lot of ways. I mean, I had 4 daughters, and some of our girls were so conscientious. Not that boys can't be, but they tend to be a little more dense about things. And so I think that getting all of us on the same page, getting 6 boys to like be on a team and, you know, and be held accountable. Okay, so that's the reason for the cards. Now walk me through what actually happens in one of these meetings.
So we start off with highs and lows, like your high of the week and your low of the week. Everybody goes through and talks about that. And then I'll go through the calendar and like tell everybody, okay, this is the week. This is what's happening every day. And then if there's a new challenge, like we've talked about a sticking point in our coaches meeting, we'll bring that up and we'll implement, okay, here's something that we need to work on. This is how it's going to work. If it's something new, we'll assign a reward to it. If it's something we've been working on for a couple weeks or month, then we'll assign a discipline to it. So everybody knows, kind of is on the same page. And then we'll go back through the note cards at the end, and just make sure everybody has a vision of what's going on. And then we'll give everybody a chance, like, okay, what do you have that wasn't talked about? Like, especially some of the older kids that maybe want to go do something with a friend that they haven't mentioned or designed. That's their chance to say, hey, Tuesday night, I have this. Is this something we can fit in? So
good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So Kristin, I wanted to hear from you. Like, so mom's listening to this, they hear about this meeting you guys do. I'm really curious for you and how you would think for other mothers. How does this affect your life as a mother? What parts of this meeting do you really appreciate, or do you feel like it changes the dynamic of the family team? How does this impact you and your role?
I mean, one of the biggest ways is teenagers, especially preteens, teenagers. Oftentimes, Jeremy will make an announcement. This is going on. We need to be preparing for this. Or these are the tasks for this week. And you see out of the corner of your eye, an eye roll or a face or a, and our mission statement is on the wall right next to where this is happening. And so he can draw us back to that vision. He can give purpose and tie what he's asking them to do into a greater vision, into a greater purpose. And so then when it's Tuesday and it's time for that thing that I rolled about, they've already heard. I just am supporting what he's already laid out for them. It's a lot less fight for me, because if they didn't get their questions answered in the meeting, that time has passed. It's time to activate. It's time for the team to go. And so I think it really takes pressure off of me as a mom to orchestrate those big things, because they've caught that vision hopefully by then. Also, you know, we're already on the same page. We've talked about these things together. We've considered all the angles, and he's brought something up and I've kind of countered that, and, you know, in our coaches meeting. And so I have the ability and already we're on the same page. And so I can just be supportive and draw the kids back to him and turn their hearts toward him. And, I don't know, it's this cool dynamic that happens, is I just can be the support person instead of the visionary. It's great.
It's so freeing for a mother, I think. April has definitely communicated this as well, to just understand that kind of the masculine elements of leading the family, getting everybody in line, pitching this vision, getting all these boys to be excited, or to at least, to choose to like, we're going to put energy into this. We're going to be held accountable. And for her to feel like as a sort of more of in a support, nurturing sense, that your gifts come fully online. Because most mothers, they don't have a husband, there's not a father in the house doing this. Their experience oftentimes is trying to be the father and the mother. And that's really, really, really hard on mothers. Some have skill at it, but it's still very difficult for them to pull this off. Like God just designed that home really well. And I feel like too, the role of mother to really for that to be thriving, the mother is the most common one in kind of a Western culture to feel like she's been abandoned as the only one that's actually caring for this team, the only one who cares if this kitchen's clean, the only one who cares if relationships are going well, the only one to really say, I wish we could do this together instead of apart. Like mothers in their hearts feel all of these things, but there's really no way to see that actually happening. And so as they're watching their family get more and more distant and their heart is breaking, they're watching, their family become more and more dysfunctional. They're watching more and more, and that the dad doesn't really have any tools. He doesn't really realize he's abandoned his team at some level. Even if he stays in the family, he doesn't have those resources. And so this is the plight of the Western mother, especially of a larger family. We have lots of kids, and you're like, why do I have all these kids if we're all just like at each other's throats, going different directions? And like, this is just so this is why, we do believe that God has made the family well. He's made the family highly functional, but these roles have to be honored. And as they're being honored, each of us as men and women have to step into these roles well. And so even when mothers may lead teams outside the home, it's so important that if you have a father there in the house, that he is given tools to be able to lead that family in the house, to be able to allow the mother to fully live into her role. And so I think this makes a massive difference for mothers. Jeremy, I'd love to hear your thoughts about as a father. So usually in most family teams, because we don't think we're a team, there really is no role for the father. It's just the mom is sort of nurturing everyone, trying to keep the relationship strong. And the dad's out there doing his own thing, like trying to figure out how to provide, really being a part of other teams, obsessed with maybe a sports team or whatever, but he's out there doing other things. So when you think about like the role of father, and a father listening to this is like, I don't really get excited about the idea of leading a meeting every week. What would you say to him about why this is important, or why you embrace this as a father?
It really gives me the opportunity to like give that vision to the family. Like we've set out and have a vision and a mission statement, and it really gives me that opportunity to just every week just to continue to reinforce that with the kids and call them into a greater calling than just friends and social life. It brings them back to being part of the family and getting them that direction.
Yeah.
So, and then it brings me more joy because it's not just, it's building something bigger, letting them have having that example, and then training them how to lead their families.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, imagine what's going to happen in the next generation. Like none of us probably grew up doing these kinds of meetings, living like teams. Like there's very few people listening to this have ever been a part of that. But man, I just can't wait to see what happens in the next generation with where this kind of culture of being like a team and understanding the essence of fatherhood and motherhood is native to our sons and daughters. That's super exciting. So yeah, that's awesome. So we have to have this place for fathers where they are rallying the team. That famous line, "He who knows why can bear almost any how." We oftentimes, our families are undervisioned. Like there's nobody articulating the why. So sometimes we think our kids are really struggling with discipline, or they're really struggling like with with focus. And yeah, those things can happen. But man, if there's no good vision that they're going after, they don't know why they're doing this, they're just sort of like trying to muscle through this, then you're relying entirely on willpower for your kids to somehow like be excited about this really difficult thing we're gonna have to do. We're gonna pull off this event. We're gonna do all these chores. It's like, why are we doing this? Like, and some kids are very, very purpose driven just in their wiring. They're always asking why, and their motivation just bleeds out of them when they don't know the why. I was one of those kids. And so, man, to have somebody just tell me, look, this is why this is important, son, like look at me in the eye and say, look, you need to understand that what we're doing here, it really matters. This is how the world gets changed, one family at a time. every single time we clean that toilet, and we are really showing good hospitality to our neighbors, we're allowing this family to exist in a more beautiful and ordered place. This is how the world is transformed by the kingdom of God. But this is a mystery to kids. They don't know that. They don't understand that. And so they have to be envisioned to do that. So, all right, this is really helpful. We're going to go much deeper into this in the Accelerator. Like I said, Kristin and Jeremy are going to be our community coaches. I'm going to give you guys one more chance to like say anything that's kind of on your heart to families, any tactics you think would be helpful to emphasize, or reasons why you guys do this. So we'll start with you, Kristin, and then Jeremy will close with you. But just want to encourage you guys to jump into this month. Again, if you want to just grab that one pager, you can go to familyteams.com/meetings and get that document, that one pager on the team meeting. But we're going to go really deep into this in the Accelerator. So just go to familyteams.com, click on the Accelerator, join us. We can't wait. We got a whole online community where we're discussing, just again, the whole month of June is all about meetings. And so we can talk about any of these different meetings that I listed that the Nettings do. We're going to also do a podcast, April and I, on some of the meetings that we do, but very much focusing primarily on the team meeting and how that's evolved. But yeah, Kristin, any last things that are on your heart when you think about families and couples listening to the importance of this rhythm?
Yeah, I am so proud of Jeremy this morning. I mean, you're doing great things too. But,
No.
I'm so proud of Jeremy and the vision that he's cast for our family. He really has talked to the Lord about where we're going and what we're doing and our role in the kingdom. And that's taken time. It really has been like an rolling out over the last couple years. But the picture that he's painted for our boys is robust and powerful, and they are believers. And all of this, the meetings and the Shabbats and even when you're too tired, and all of the things are directly related to the vision he's cast, and that the reverse engineering, what are we doing now to support that vision? Because we all want that vision. And so I would encourage fathers to really sit with the Lord very prayerfully and ask the Father what he has for their family and make decisions today with that in mind. Because if you don't, you're not going to end up in that place. Compare everything that you want to do, what you think the Lord is calling you to, all of that, with all of that in mind, it will direct your days. And it's been an amazing transition. There's so many ways that the Lord has completely transformed our lives in the practical day-to-day sense, the things that we do and the ways that we gather and the things that we're speaking about. And all of it plays into this one big thing that the Lord has put in front of us. And so meetings are a really essential part of getting to that place in the end.
Yeah. One of the things I've really learned from this conversation is this cascade of Jeremy praying, then you two meeting, talking through the things that are on his heart, and then getting totally united as a united front, and then taking that before your family, your kiddos, and really being able to, like, that progression of a father with the Lord. And so, yeah, man, that is powerful. I love how just how empowering that would be, just to say, okay, every Sunday morning, I'm going to get up and just like lead my family, start with like my, my relationship with the Lord, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my family. So yeah, Jeremy, I want you to share too, anything that's on your heart for fathers or for families thinking about this. Before I do that though, I want to say what you just said, Kristin. One of the things I've loved about just understand how God has led you guys is that, there are some of these incredibly creative ways you guys have solved problems. And two examples. One is Jeremy started this family kickball league. And I did a podcast with Jeremy like a year or two ago on the Family Teams podcast, and I've been promoting this everywhere I can think of, because I think this solves one of the most vexing problems for so many family teams, and that is, how do you manage sports when you have 6 boys that are all excited to be a part of a team, and you want them to experience athletics, like that's game over for your family. You're going to go, at 6 different directions. And so Jeremy solved this problem very, very creatively. And so go over to Family Teams. You can search for that podcast. I love what you guys have done there. And the other thing I just found out yesterday, we were on a meeting in a different universe that I'm on with the Nettings, 1,000 Houses, 1KH. And they talked about these summer suppers that they are hosting. So for the month of June and July, they pull off a big supper with like up to 70 people at their house every week. And this is just a part of how they invite other families into like a kingdom experience, just a laid back fun, and then you can break out into prayer. And it's just such a cool vision. So anyway, I just love that the way you guys have thought through how to restore these ancient ways and then bringing that into your family and all these creative solutions that you guys have come up with by meeting, really looking at these, praying, being before the Lord, asking God, help me, Holy Spirit. Like what's something we can do to solve this problem, to solve that problem? And man, again, what can start to happen? The creative things that come out of this are so beautiful. So yeah, Jeremy, any last words you'd have for families or fathers on this topic?
Yeah, I would just really challenge you to try it, like step into and do it. It's not going to go well. It's going to take, a year or two to get it into, we've changed it around so much. We've changed who's allowed to be there, who's not. And some go well and some you walk away with. And it's like, that was horrible. But you just keep doing it. And eventually the more you do it, the kids understand what's happening and they go with it more and it just grows on itself. But I can tell you, it's not going to go well the first couple times.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to really persevere. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of sit there and you're like, okay, I care about this. And you have to be the biggest believer. Like you have to believe that God has made your family to be a team to get through that dip of like trying to get your family into this like cadence, into this rhythm. And then you have to improve it subtly over time because you'll find those problems. And one of the things that's beautiful about repeated rhythms is that when you discover a problem, like, oh, the kids aren't remembering anything we're saying, why the heck are we doing this meeting? Instead of stopping doing the meeting, you come up with a creative solution. Let's put the pens and the cards in the middle of the table and get the boys to take notes. Like that's how you solve problems. You don't abandon, things that teams do because it's not working once or twice. You come together as a couple in that coaches meeting and solve the problem. And this over time is really, I think, what creates a really beautiful dynamic in the team and each layer. So, all right, guys, I'm so excited about this month. I know like I'm the most, like Jeremy said as well, I'm not excited about meetings. I just had a conversation with one of the companies that I'm a part of and just said, please, is there any way we can reduce the number of meetings, the frequency, the time, this is not about like, guys, family teams, we just love meetings. I know that, some of you might not, but this is all for people who love meetings. Like that's not what this is. Meetings is a tool for teams and every successful team does this. So we want to do as little as possible, but the little as possible is not zero. And I think these 5 ideas of these different kinds of rhythms, this is likely the minimum requirement for a team to be on the same page and to make sure that you are progressing together. And so we really want to equip you guys to do this. Every one of you family teams needs to think about this. So I'm sure this stirred up 1,000 questions for you guys. That's why the Accelerator exists. So go over to familyteams.com, jump in the Accelerator for June, and you will get to talk to Jeremy and Kristin about this, and also me and April and our family at the end of that month. We do a Zoom call, a town hall meeting, and we'll talk to you guys about whatever you want to talk about, including meetings at the end of June. So excited to do that. But yeah, Jeremy and Kristin, thank you guys so much for following the Lord, for leading your family, for being on the podcast today. This is super helpful.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks. It was great.
Thank you for listening to the Family Teams podcast. If you're enjoying this content or have learned something new, please make sure to leave a rating and review and share with a friend. To stay up to date with our events, new content, and products, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram @Family Teams.